It's really fascinating that if you have the interest and you believe in the power of people and you really believe that if given a chance, people can create these wonderful things. A lot of these things have branched up. As a scientist, when you're trying to innovate, if you already come with a bias, your ability to innovate inherently is poor. The word is, for me, it is a kida. Like, why do you have to understand this? It is inherent kida in me, which I unfortunately or fortunately inflict on other people also right before the walk.
Hello and welcome to Your Heart's Content,
a show where we try to analyze the parts of content that really matter.
We talk to musicians, artists, illustrators, designers, stand-up comics,
Folks in the business of content, all in a bid to try and understand this space of content a little better.
and how you could benefit from it. In this episode, we are speaking with Ajit Bhaskar. So from Monday to Friday, he's a tea scientist. But over the weekends, you will find him in the bylanes of Bangalore, looking out for some of the most delectable idli, vade and dosa. Yes, that's literally what he does over weekends. Ajit is the founder of Thindi Capital, a WhatsApp community which is a home for all things food. And not only that, he actually writes a column for Hindustan Times, which is called Run for Thindi. The reason I love this conversation so much is because Ajit sees food as a way to understand and explore culture and history. And I assure you, you would have not thought about food the way Ajit has. So join me in this delicious conversation with Ajit. Ajit, welcome and thank you. Oh yeah.
Oh, lovely. Wow.
Okay, this is not gone as planned.
No, that's good. Brilliant. I'm so happy to see this shirt.
Yes.
Very nice.
Now we can start.
Wonderful. Very happy to see you guys.
And the most important thing, we have to take a picture with the Spider-Man meme.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yes.
this hand, I think.
No, both hands,
Both
right?
hands. Oh, okay, very nice.
Okay, there we go. Anyway, Ajit, welcome
Yes.
to our little show.
Thank you so much for having me.
We have so much to talk about.
Yeah.
And
But first, I think the right thing to do when you are with Ajit is to take the Whitefield pledge.
Yes, please.
Yes, so please tell us how
Hands
to do
on
it.
heart.
Hands on heart.
Whitefield is
Whitefield.
an integral part of Bangalore.
Is an integral part of Bangalore.
It is older than Jayanagar.
It is older than China.
No, wait, don't laugh. It's factually accurate. Come on.
Okay, seriously.
See, a lot of people don't know this. It's founded in 1882. Jayanagar is bloody 1930s. It's a good 40 years older. Okay, but Whitefield. Okay, no laughter. Get
Okay,
serious.
serious.
Whitefield is an
Whitefield
integral part of Bangalore,
Is an integral part of Bangalore,
and we shall not make fun of it.
and we should not make fun of it.
Whitefield rocks.
Whitefield rocks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Represent.
Sarjapur Road
Can I make
represent.
some like dark jokes that can be chopped off?
No, we won't chop
no,
off
we didn't say anything like white power or anything.
Yeah, that was that's something I was going for, but thank
Yeah,
you.
no, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, but it's filter this conversation down to what we were actually supposed to do.
Yes.
So, Ajit, first tell us the story of when did you move to Whitefield? Because I'm sure it's not 1882, so...
No, it's not. I'm not that old also.
Yeah.
So, let's see. This was 2010 August is when I moved to Bangalore. And the first 3 weeks was at my in-laws' place in Jayanagar, which is proper Bangalore. And it was during that time when I got introduced to the Thindi culture. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, my job was in Whitefield. And I moved to Bangalore after a stint in the US for about 8.5-ish years. And throughout those 8.5-ish years, I was used to walking to my workplace or lab. So I told my mother-in-law I'd like to move to Whitefield so that I can walk to work. So she didn't say anything, but apparently behind my back, she started messaging my wife, "Your husband's an idiot. Nobody walks to work in Bangalore. If he thinks he's going to find something in Whitefield and walk to work, that is just foolish." Turns out I was right. And I moved to an older part of Bangalore than Jayanagar. And then I also found a place which was a couple of kilometers. So I did manage to walk for quite some time. So I've been in Bangalore for now 13 to 14 years, all of them in Whitefield. And the beauty of living in Whitefield is you realize what you're missing out in life. And hence that's the catalyst for venturing and exploring Bangalore.
Wow, we have had people over here who sat where you are talking about turning negatives into positives, but this
No. But but the beauty of Whitefield is that you see, since it's a very migrant heavy area, the food scene therefore is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It is genuinely there are some fantastic litti choka places. There's suddenly a burst of Indori poha places in Whitefield. There are some really kulche chole places, good kulche chole places in Whitefield. And my personal favorite is there is a gentleman from Orissa who has moved. He's called Narayan Samal, and you can't miss him. His shop is a bike.
Oh,
It's a bike, and it's recognized by a bike, a red umbrella, and a dude wearing a cowboy hat and his smile.
Wow.
That's Narayan Samal's Dahi Bada Aludam stall. And it's like when you go there, it's like people are speaking in Oriya. Like there is no other language. Like you forget that you're in Bangalore, where, I mean, as such, Kannada is spoken less. Now there is this Oriya scene that is happening. And people are like gossiping with that guy left, right and center. And for the longest time, I didn't know that there is a UP style samosa. I didn't even know what it was. So I was coming back from a Thindi walk with a friend called Deeksha, and she was telling me, I am from I think near Allahabad or something, and she was saying like, in our place, the filling of the samosa is brown. It's not the usual aloo matar yellow that you get in Delhi style samosa, and you really don't get it outside that easily. I mean, what are you talking about? There is one dude next to my house who makes it. She's like, I refuse to believe it. So we went there, and turns out that dude is actually from Prayagraj, and he's moved to Bangalore 6 months ago, and he's making the same samosa. She was stunned. She's like, I never thought I would find this thing in Bangalore. So the beauty of living in Whitefield therefore is that if you look for things, you will find some really interesting stuff.
I would like to. I mean,
Whitefield rocks.
with all due respect to this, I think that's true of any place, right?
You could, I mean, that's true. But I mean, probably if you're passionate enough to hunt for things, given that especially in big city there is migration from all
parts of
states,
the country,
right? So I would imagine, say Mumbai or Delhi, whatever. I am sure that would be the case. I'm just saying that instead of looking at this as an adversity where there is a flux of folks moving from different parts of the country, it could be looked as a positive or a strength also.
I think also a lot of real estate developers are now going to reach out to Ajit, saying that no one has sold Whitefield better in their lives than you have. So please become our brand ambassador. Suddenly all the big ones,
from a billboard.
Yeah, billboard. Ajit is smiling.
Yeah.
Okay, and then he's like, Thindi this way, Litti Choka this way.
I think, speaking of which, I think we should now segue into what we actually called Ajit for. It is not really to promote
Whitefield, which he has clearly taken the initiative to. Yes. So, Ajit, I mean, you're of course known for, your Thindi Walks, but even before that, you have a day job. Right?
Yes.
Unfortunately, Thindi Walks don't pay enough in life.
They don't pay anything.
Yeah, they don't pay anything.
I lose money on the walks. I mean, invariably the commute to get to the walk is always more expensive than the amount you pay for.
I have to tell about this, that I went on one of Ajit's walks in Kabanpet, and I think my total share of the bill came to some 120 rupees after some 4 hours of eating and walking. And my cab bill from Sarjapur to Kabanpet and back was 600 rupees. So I exactly get what you are saying. And by the way, Ajit has found a very interesting way around it. So if you tell Ajit, let's meet in Kaban Park. Ajit will run from Whitefield to Kaban Park. Right?
Yes.
So let's talk about that.
Why not? They're actually interrelated. So I told you, right, I moved from Jayanagar to Whitefield and I realized what I was missing. Now, thankfully, I also got into running. So it kind of connected very nice. I guess that's how this whole group thing started, right?
Yeah.
So from mid 2000 all the way until 2018-ish, my weekend ritual was pick a day, Saturday or Sunday, start running from Whitefield, run to South Bangalore or Malleshwaram or Rajaji Nagar or Kabanpet for that matter, eat breakfast at a place and take a bus or a cab or whatever back. And that is perhaps the reason why I ended up going to so many places. And when I started posting about this on Twitter, etc., I think people were like, I don't know about the running part, but I'll join you for breakfast. Great, no problem. The more the merrier always. And then there is this gang of 5. Me, initially it was Viju and Tejas. We went for some runs together because they were also avid runners. So we used to meet at a Lal Bagh or whatever, run and then go have breakfast and come back. Then Samir, Vinay. So there's this group of 4-5 people used to meet regularly and have breakfast, and we all used to come back. I have done this once with a group of office folks also who expressed some interest. Then COVID happened, and after COVID, I remember this was Hotel Mangala in the Hanumant Nagar area, South Bangalore. And me, Vinay, Sandeep, we'd met for a dosa, and that's when Samir asked, can I add more people to this group? So now about 2 years and change ago, this thing happened. And overnight, that group of 4-5 became 50, and then 50 became 100 in no time. And then 100 became 200, etc. Then when I started posting a message that, hey, I'm, coming to this place, would you like to join me for breakfast? Instead of 5, suddenly 25 hands stood up. Okay, it's okay. Then, so I remember this was at Guru Kotareshwar in NR Colony. We were having bende masala, very nice. Then it occurred to 25 of us. No, why stop here? Can we go? Because there's South Kitchen down the road.
Yeah.
It's hardly 200 meters away. Hey, we should go there and have their Kesari Bath and Shavi Ke Bath. It's the lightest in Bangalore. There is Gojja Valaki, etc., etc. So, yeah, why not? Because it's 25. You can probably share and eat. Oh, now Dwarka Hotel is down the road, another 150 meters, there are Khali Dosa. How can you not come to South Bangalore and not have NR Colony and not have Khali Dosa? Let's do that also, no problem. And that's when it occurred to me that, okay, wait a minute, there is something, we can actually have some fun here.
So this thing that you said, did it happen over different walks, or did this happen on one day?
This happened on one day. Yeah. I mean, the 20 people even comfortably.
Oh, on the first time that there were 25 people.
Yeah, it was kind of impromptu. And then I realized, okay, we can do this on a regular basis. And that's how, for me, this whole thing evolved into like a Thindi hopping order. And then, of course, now there are a lot of members. And that's how the whole group Thindi Capital was formed. So it's literally word of mouth. And people are, there is something where, we are hopping across Darshinis, etc., etc. And, a lot of people got interested. It's like friends and they tell people and they get added, stuff like that. So it's truly a word of mouth kind of a thing. But it is open to anybody who's living in Bangalore, because if you wish to explore Bangalore, this is an interesting way.
Yeah, a word of mouth for a world of mouth. So listen,
no, but I was one thing. I think you should explain Thindi and Darshini.
Yeah, that's what
because a lot of Bangalore folks.
Yeah. I was just about to say that.
Non-Bangalore folks will watch this.
Yeah, glossary. Or we hope a lot of non-Bangalore people watch this. Yeah. For the international viewers, can you explain what Bangalore is? What?
Bangaloreans may get confused with Whitefielders when you say international viewers. Sorry.
Didn't we just take a pledge?
Go for it. I have earned it. I have earned the right to self-deprecate being.
It's like you can make fun of your sibling, but no one else in the world can.
Go
something
for it.
like that.
Darshini.
See, Thindi is a general word for nashta or a tiffin. Hence, it's you have the idli, dosa, buns, whatever. So it's a general word for nashta. It could be a morning thing or it could be an afternoon thing also. And Darshini is essentially a place where the menu is compact. There is no seating or service. Those are two key things, right? And so you go, you order your food, you get your food in a short duration. So usually Darshini started off without having masala dosa actually. If you look at the original hotels like a Vidyarthi Bhavan or a USKB, Udupi Sri Krishna Bhavan in Balepete or Baswanagudi, they are hotels in the sense that they have seating and they have service. So in that strict definition sense, they are not Darshinis, but I mean, I'm not too caught up with that. But if you want the definition of a true Darshini, this whole thing happened when a gentleman called Mr. Prabhakar Rao decided that, we'll take inspiration from US McDonald's. And for
I
the
was just
busy-
about to ask you, is that the
Exactly.
equivalent of like a
Yes,
McDonald's
yes,
versus Pizza
yes,
Hut or
yes,
something?
yes.
So the Pizza Hut would be
McDonald's. So you go, you order, you get your food real fast, you have it on the go and push off.
that would be the equivalent of a Darshini. No, that would be the equivalent of a Darshini.
Of a Darshini, yes, yes.
So a Thindi would be
The
Pizza
food that
Hut.
you
With the
have,
food- the
no,
food
Thindi
itself.
is the food.
Okay.
So the
Okay, got it.
burger
Okay,
is
got
the
it. Okay.
food, and the place is a Darshini.
Okay, all right, got it.
So,
So the Bukalu Tikki or whatever is the Thindi. Wow.
So, but having said that, this is not an entirely novel. So this was popularized by him post the 90s IT boom or what have you.
Oh, really? Okay.
But these places without seating and food it dates back much longer, much before 90s. So simple examples is the iconic Brahmin's coffee bar, right? It has existed since for more than 50 years now, and the menu is it has not changed much. It is kesari baat, khara baat, idli vade, and tea coffee. That's it. That is the menu. And they may put a dollop of extra benne on your idli or vade, but that's it. And there is chutney. That is it. And the way they manage the whole idea is to manage crowds, right? Because Bangaloreans love eating out. Any good Darshini, it is packed all the time. So you go there, you get the token, you give the bill, and you leave with your food, because things like idli vade is made
ready,
fresh. So that's a very interesting catch there. I realize, so I'll take an example of a place called Bangalore Cafe. It's in Jayanagar. It is opened by a gentleman who was ex-Bosch employee. Now he has applied the principles of Six Sigma in vade making, and I'm serious, I've had a chat with him. So what he does is, he has a person who notices the footfall. How many people are coming, have an idea. Based on that, a fresh batch of vada is churned, because the Darshini vada in Bengaluru, it's actually double fried. So there is a McDonald's analogy where the fries are usually twice fried.
Yeah.
So the reason why Bengaluru Darshini vades are so gari or crisp is because they are twice fried. So you can't goof up. He believes that the vada should never be kept in a container that is covered with plastic. He doesn't have the container at the place. So he has a guy whose job is to monitor the footfall and make vada accordingly, so it comes fresh off the kadai, and after draining a little bit of excess oil, it lands straight on the plate. That's why the vada, they're always fresh, crunchy, crispy, tasty. So each place has figured out their own scene on how to do it. Even if you go to Brahmin's coffee bar, you'll never find a container with a plastic lid with some, even a 1 hour old vada kept there, because we are extremely particular about few things. And these are very little things, but it's really fascinating to me. Like, let's say you want idli vada. Now, you take idli, you pour chutney, or you never pour chutney on top of a vada, because it will lose its crunch.
Yes.
So, these are the things that people judge Darshinis on, including me, unfortunately or fortunately. So if you get I can choose to make my vada, I'll choose to dip it and eat it the way I want. But if you give me a vada that is dipped in chutney already, that is not acceptable to me. So if you're having a single vada with chutney, of course you can't avoid the contact. But having said that, idli vada means 1 or 2 idlis on top of which there will be a vada, and the chutney is usually on the side. My idli can soak in the chutney, but the vada has to be crisp, because we like to hear the vada before we taste the vada. You have to hear that crunch. Sorry, I don't know what we are talking about, but this has gone into all kinds of
I want a vada right now.
Yeah. We have to find the nearest Darshini, and we have to see, first of all, it's Ajit approved.
Raghavendra Tiffins is nice.
Raghavendra
It's hardly a kilometer from here, I believe.
Yeah.
Then we can run there right after this.
Yeah, because we have Ajit who will run with us.
Yes. Or for us.
For us, see.
Yeah, where were we?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I've not forgotten whatever I was going to ask. So
No, I
I'm
think we
going
just
to-
asked about the thing. Like you were talking
What
about
is a
how-
Darshini and what
Yeah,
is...
what is a
Yeah,
Darshini?
yeah.
And you were talking about how this went from 2 people to 50 people to 25 people to, why stop here? Let's go there and there and there. That's where the broad story was. And I think we can just pick off the evolution from there.
So tell me one thing. I'm part of that group for the last few years now, and I thoroughly enjoy being a part of the group. But one of the most interesting things is that the spin-offs which have happened on that group. Right?
I think you should talk about the group, by the way, because that's really like, just to be clear, we are talking about content in some shape or form, and and one of the reasons why we wanted to speak to you, like we were talking to before, is because we believe that for a good, like, I'm using the term very loosely, content creator, knowing how to manage your community and seeing how it kind of grows on its own is kind of like a beautiful thing, right? And we've seen so many examples of creators where they start something and then the community just takes a life
of its own.
Life of its own, right? And we've seen this in many, many spaces. So that's really the context by which why we are talking about idli and vada and your opinions on.
And also just to give a context about the Thindi Capital group as well. Right, so it's a group of people who are interested in all forms of food,
and that is the evolution of that group, right?
That group, which he started. So it did start with only going to Thindi places, but now everything from Chinese food to Thindi to everything is discussed.
Pretty much.
And people make plans to meet up, in which Ajit is not involved even remotely.
Yes.
Right, so there are people who have make plans. Oh, we have to go to Pizza 4 Piece.
Yes.
We have to go to this place. People spectacular.
Yes.
Plans are getting made. Ajit is not involved in any of it. Ajit is just doing his day job as a tea scientist, and he's like, I need to focus on this. Thindi Capital is only losing money. I need to make money with a day job, so I can't focus on
this. And now this has this group now, which I assume became a WhatsApp community, has now branched off into non-food things as well.
Which I think let Ajit talk about.
So, so I mean, since it was a Thindi capital, but I believed in free-flowing conversations. But then a lot of them became about non-food. Like, does anybody have a first-hand experience on a stay in this location, which is very loosely related to food, but not really related to food. And it started taking over. So I'm like, folks, would it be okay if we made a different group so that we keep the focus on food here? So then we had a non-Thindi chatter capital. So you can talk about anything under the sun practically, right? And so that is one thing where is like, what's a mobile phone that I should be getting, or what's a homestay near I am going from this place to this place, what's the better route to take? I mean, anything under the sun, anything is up for grabs. So, and it's a terrific source of good quality information. You really get good quality information there.
And that's also because it's self-selective in some ways, right?
Yes. So that is one. Then of course, fitness capital happened, and there's a very sweet guy called Madhu, very good friend of mine, and he said, why not start a group for runners and fitness? So the modus operandi is, if you believe, float a poll in the Thindi group, because that's where most of the people are. So if you get about 25 to 30 votes, you add off a community and enjoy. That's it. So about 25 to 30 people. Now it's again, that community is also more than 250 plus people. It's fantastic. And everything is up for grabs. There is running, there is cycling, there is yoga. Now I think a couple of people are enthusiastic about that climbing rock thingy in Indiranagar. So let's meet, climb and then eat. So there is an inside joke that everything is great, but it has to end with food somehow. So now the running gang, we meet every now and then. We meet at Kavan Park, run, go for a bite, or meet at Lal Bagh, run, go for a bite. Then there is cycling, of course, and I think it's like, so I floated this idea, guys. Vijaypura is a very interesting place. There is an 80-year-old dosa who wants to cycle there with me, and then some people who are actually super crazy about cycling, and they said, I am in. Then I looked, oh crap, this is a round trip is 100 kilometers. What did I sign myself up for? But it turns out they are people way better at cycling. So I kind of fed from their energy, and it was fun. We rode 50 kilometers, belted nice, lovely dosa idli, and then rode back to Bangalore. It was a lot of fun. So it is actually very impromptu. So every couple of weeks, something is happening. I think today also one gang met at Kaban Park. They ran, belted dosas, and they're back. So it's actually it's kind of funny because there is this one particular place in Kabanpet which is my personal favorite. It's called SK Tiffin Room in Kabanpet. So now it's like, it's been a long time since we've been to SK, no? Let's run at Kaban. Who wants to run at Kaban? Chalo, 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 aa jao. And then people will run whatever. And then you go to that place, maybe one more place, belt a dosa and then come back. So it's kind of a running joke inside the group. But
Oh, it's a running joke also.
thanks. Sticky.
That's 3 so far.
And I think the more non-intuitive extensions of that group one is Quiz Capital. So we spoke with Bertie Ashley yesterday, who's also part of that group, and that group is something, I don't know how much you follow that group, by the way, Ajit.
It's hard.
It's hard to follow Thindi Capital itself. I mean, right? That group has become between 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. on a working day. All the people who are sitting bored in office will start a quiz together, and people are playing quiz on WhatsApp group, right? And there are people who are posting, "This is a very boring Wednesday. Can someone please ask some questions?"
Yes.
That's exactly how it starts almost every second or third day. Right, and that's the beauty of the group, the great questions, right? Like a very good set of people. And
you have people like Bertie, Udupa and all, obviously it's going to be great.
Right. There's Bertie, there's Sumok, a whole bunch of people.
Fantastic. And they put in the effort, like some lot of pictorial clues, all kinds of stuff is happening.
It's like proper workable questions. It's not like, oh, what is the capital of X? Not those kind of questions which you need to know, but very workable questions.
Like one thing that's, I mean, I'm unfortunately, because I don't have a address in Bangalore, I am barred from these groups, unfortunately. I mean, don't make that face. You have the power to overrule this. But anyway,
No. What? You have to live in Bangalore. Just move to Bangalore, no?
Okay,
There are people watching us, Chuck.
Yeah.
Fair. We're seeing so many articles talking about the death of social media and stuff like that, right? There won't be a platform after X/Twitter, whatever it is, and it kind of feels like if you see what the definition of social media really is, that this is as much of that as it gets. It's self-selecting. It's people with a shared interest coming together, and it's.
And the beauty is that I think people really understand the group dynamics, right? So there is no needless forwards. I mean, beyond, there is some funny stuff going on all the time, but I think people have realized I mean, that is the most fascinating part to me, right? So there are no usual or good morning, none of the motivationally things, none of that stuff. So people realize, because nobody is posting, then looks like that is the group dynamics here, right? And
it's interesting how WhatsApp etiquette has also kind of evolved, right?
Exactly.
The good morning equivalent in Thindi Capital is a picture of dosa vade.
Yes, exactly.
Some 6 a.m. someone is
that
posting.
is acceptable. That is completely
Totally acceptable.
Yes. And also, let's say it's not stated explicitly, but we don't end up discussing any politics as such. So, I think people realize that there is something nice with this community.
And maybe it's because of that in some way. Like, this is kind of like a safe space. This is at least, this is like a safe community, right? You keep your, whatever.
Otherwise, it becomes the same group again and again.
Exactly.
Something like that, yeah. So props to people really hats off to people for kind of understanding that, because let's face it, it's at the end of the day, it's a collection of 1,000 Homo sapiens. There will be a spectrum of beliefs, value systems, etc. And while it's very easy to put that out and start discussing and debating, but people have really chosen to not do that, and I'm eternally grateful for that, because as people who are trying to keep things calm, it's really terrific job by the gang for keeping it largely related to food. And so every now and then we've had some interesting sort of discussions on various kinds of topics. One of them, I think one interesting discussion was, should we have children? And as a person who is also learning...
children in general, not on the walks. That's where it was.
They're very welcome on the walks.
Yeah. No, my son has come on a couple. Yeah. So, general lifestyle related questions, and and that, jokingly there was a suggestion that can we do Thindi plus Tinder equals Tinder, and it turns out that's now actually a group.
Thing.
It's actually a group. Of course, it's very strictly regulated, just word of mouth, and the admins are very strict. There are some very specific criteria, so it's not very easy to get in. And the admins there are doing a terrific job. But I mean that's it's really fascinating that if you have the interest and you believe in the power of people, and you really believe that if given a chance, people can create these wonderful things. A lot of these things have branched off. There is a photography capital, by the way. So whoever is all the photography geeks get together. I mean, I keep refreshing my physics fundamentals thanks to that particular group. Some focal length, this lens, that lens. So people go to all extents. There is an art capital. I am not a part of that group because I am not very good with arts in any form in general.
Yeah, but we are completely discounting the fact that your walks are a piece of art, which I want to talk about later.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Absolutely it is. And I've been on one of them and I can vouch for it, but go on, please.
Thanks, Utsav. So again, if somebody believes that I would like to start a community for X area of interest, by all means. There is also Netflix, and instead of chill, it is chips. Netflix and chips. So you can talk about shows and whatnot. So there is no limit to one's imagination, and you have a collection of 1,000 odd people. So if people have
it almost feels like the main group is kind of like a great filter almost in some way. I mean, I don't know whether it's elitist to say that word or something, but they used to joke about the IITs and IIMs mostly, like it's not about the education, but it's about the filtering out. The people who graduate from there have been through the grind, so you can put them to work or whatever it is. And I know it's a very bad kind of parallel to make, and that's definitely not what I'm implying, but it's almost like, okay, if you're part of Thindi Capital, then you're cool, man. Like,
I'm not sure if the awareness is that much, but
no, but it seems that way from everything that you're saying, right?
Okay,
Rich.
It's a fun group, and I think it is, like I said, it's more like a word of mouth kind of a thing.
That's the thing, exactly.
Yeah.
It's word of mouth. It's, I mean, people are coming together for their shared joy of food in some ways. So,
and I feel that I think, Ajit, you're giving yourself too little credit. I'll tell you why. Because of course, you started to put together this community, and then of course it grew with word of mouth. But one of the few things which I really, really like about the community is the fact that the principle of do not yuck on someone's yum.
Yes, that's
right?
a must.
It's a must.
Yes.
And I think the way he has very nicely, politely told people that if someone wants to eat chocolate dosa, let them eat chocolate dosa. No one's asking you to eat chocolate dosa, right? If that's what gives them joy, let them. And I think that's very, very important because, and I'm taking a slightly larger picture of this to say that we live in a polarized world that food is a hot button topic, right? It could be everything from being vegan to not vegan, to being vegetarian to not vegetarian, to saying
what about the pineapple on pizza?
Pineapple on pizza. Nobody cares for pineapple on pizza. The question is which sambar is better. That's the question which gets discussed. Is it the Tamil Nadu sambar or is the Udupi sambar? That's the thing which gets discussed. And I think one of the beautiful things you have done is that sure, people have come together for the common love of food, but at the same time, people are also become a little more tolerant of saying, okay, you do you, this is what you like and you like. And personally, as someone who, of course, is part of the group, and I do a lot of food stuff on my podcast as well, I have found subject matter experts in this group who I have pinged to, and they have pinged me and said, for example, I did a whole series a bit on Tamil Nadu food, right? And there were people like, Deepa, Shreya, they've actually pinged me, gotten on calls with me, explained things to me because I'm alien to the culture. And I've been able to take those inputs to the episode, right? And of course, they have been giving credit for it. So I think this is something which is actually very hard to pull off once a community goes beyond a certain size. It's easy to pull off when you have a first degree connection with people, maybe a second degree, but now it's third degree, fourth degree connections with people. And I think that's something which is done. And of course, there are a couple of other people who help out, Ajit as well. And one thing, and I'm sorry, I'm a big fan of the community, so I'm going to go on for a little more time, is to see it from the perspective of a migrant. I came into Bangalore 5 years ago. I am not from here. But the fact that the community has been so accepting, and second, it actually allows a migrant like me to get a glimpse of
a place like Bangalore through the eyes of people who love the city. Right? And that's where I think the walks which Ajit conducts are just beautiful because they blend, a sense of camaraderie between people. They blend a shared love for food, and they blend a love of, history and culture. But I want to talk about how you think about a walk.
Okay.
Right, because you do so many, so it's not the same walk. I know that for a fact. But tell us about how you think about a food walk. I mean, can you? Sorry, but before that, because again, I don't stay in Bangalore, as has been established many times, so I cannot be part of the community.
Neither
so
do I,
come to the walks.
apparently.
Yeah, fair. No, can you tell me? You said different kinds of walks. So, are there like themes? Just before you get into how you curate a walk, like what are the various kinds of walks? Is it short, long? Is it themed in any other kind of way?
So I do try to keep a theme. Now, so as Utsav mentioned, as I'm also a migrant, by the way. I've been living for 13 years, and I call Bangalore home. So I'm a TAM, but I call Bangalore home. So I'm from Bangalore is what I say. Now, I'm of course phrasing it loosely. So let's say when somebody moves to Bangalore, the first thing that comes to their mind is idli, dosa, vada, and a sweet sambar and a chutney. So a lot of these walks, the theme is to bust a lot of these myths, right? Because that sambar is a very Udupi specific thing. A Bangalore style Darshini doesn't serve sambar with dosa. You take Vidyarthi Bhavan as an example. It's been there since 1940s. If you ask dosa, it will come with a chutney. If you ask for sambar, politely refused. You will not be given. If you want sambar, you have to order idli vada. That will come with sambar, which you can then have with the dosa, should you choose to. Same thing, if you look at all the iconic eateries, right? Say CTR, for example, in Malleshwaram. Masala dosa, chutney. There is no sambar. The concept of sambar doesn't exist in Bangalore style darshanis, right? But they at least make sambar for a idli vada. Now we move to a Kabbanpet style darshini. There is no sambar. They don't make sambar. There is, so Kabbanpet style, it's like, that is the thick, crisp, ghee loaded dosas. Which have existed in Bangalore since 60s, by the way, 60s, 70s, by the way. So it is a reasonably old phenomena, right? One of the reasons perhaps is, this is my theory, that there's a lot of physically, working class population that resides there. So you need that dose of carbs and fats in the morning. So you load up, go about your day, slog, and then that energy sustains. So therefore, the concept of sambar doesn't exist. They make dosa and they tuck in rice, which is called bath masala, along with the aloo and all. It is
so good
stuff.
So good. Sorry.
So through food, you also get to know about the area, and that is what forms the theme. So through these, we also bust a lot of myths. So we actually do. So I make it a point to do a walk in Kabbanpet, which has no sambar. And that is new to a lot of people because it, busts the myth that this thing has sweet sambar or what. In fact, if there are 100 total places in Bangalore, I would say 50 places don't even do sambar, let alone sambar with dosa or whatever. Out of the remaining 50, maybe 20, 30 will be Udupi, Bangalore style, which don't serve sambar with dosa. But if you order other things, you will get a sambar. So I personally feel that, social media has kind of inflated this whole concept of with sambar, because the assumption is if you go to a place in Karnataka or Bangalore, you will get a sambar, which is absolutely not true. So that forms one of the themes to tell folks that you don't get sambar. So Davangere Benne dosa, it's a very unique dosa, particular to the region of Davangere. The concept of sambar doesn't exist there. They don't make sambar. So even if you want sambar, you're not getting sambar there. It's just dosa and a celebration of butter. And that aloo
is that what you call like the
benne is just
a celebration of butter?
It is truly.
It is.
My mouth is watering as I'm speaking.
Yeah.
The theatrics is fantastic. But usually you are seeing this ghee being poured. Now imagine on a wood-fired stove. It's a nice, hot, thick cast iron surface. You spread the batter. You wait, and then from a vat of fresh home churned white butter. Tuck, like some $7 will fall. Just wait for it. You just watch that thing melt, and nice caramelization is happening.
This is an ASMR episode.
No, also this is...
it is truly.
We will move this to PG-13. A lot of food porn is being discussed here. It's not appropriate for
And
children.
by the way, another plus point of Darshinis is that you get to see how your food, and Davangere Benne Dosa is the prime example.
Oh, that's interesting. So you get to see.
You get to see.
Is that a feature or is that just a happening?
Because there is no concept of service and there is no seating.
Oh.
So what to do when I'm standing?
See how
Might
it's
as
being
well
watched.
learn how it's
Hence,
made.
the
Exactly.
connection there within that and Subway. Yes. Sorry.
Just compared.
Sorry.
But don't yuck on someone's yum. So yeah,
I like
fair,
Subway.
fair.
I like Subway and dosa.
Let's stick to the dosa part.
Yeah,
I will get to Subway later. Okay, so this
Trying very
thing
hard to
is-
throw Ajit off track.
No. This first round of Benne application happens. Then you flip it, let it roast for some more time. Then you turn it around. One more round. Tuck. Then you apply the kemp chutney if it's a bende masale, or and put the palya. And if it's an open dosa, you don't fold it. Just put the pudi on top. So there is lot of subtle things. And some places, right before serving the open dosa, one more tuck. And it is unbelievable stuff. So. And this is also new to many people because so the tagline for Karnataka is one state, many worlds, and there is no better way to explore that than food. Because when somebody asks what is Karnataka mein dosa kaisa hota hai, my first question is what style are you talking about? Is it Udupi style? First of all, is it a fermented or a non-fermented dosa? Because there is a neer dosa that we have which is equally spectacular, right? So is it a or a rava dosa? Both, they are not necessarily fermented batter. So is it fermented or non-fermented? So non-fermented, you have these types. If it's a fermented dosa, you have a Udupi classic, you have a classic Bangalore Darshini style, you have a Kali dosa which is zero oil. So while dosa is associated with tons of fats, etc., two things, right? So there is this thing called Kali dosa, which should be made with zero oil. The batter is put on the kallu and it spreads on its own weight and it just cooks. It's one of the softest, pillowy kind of dosas that you'll ever have. So that the Dwarka Hotel, Gopal Tiffin Room, Chicken and all do a terrific job. On top of that, if you want to, you can add benne or ghee, that's up to you. But ideally, Kali dosa is made with little to no oil. So that is also something that people get to know. Right? And so there is Kali. Then you have your classic roast. You have a Bangalore roast, you have a Kabanpete style roast, you have a bath masala, you have pudi masala, etc. etc. So that's the thing and there is of course Davangere Benne dosa, which is very different than anything that you'll ever have. So the question is, which dosa are you talking about? So when you kind of are in general interested and passionate about exploring these things, then you get to know and share these things so that other people are also aware that okay, maybe I shouldn't generalize things and make at least an effort to understand what I am getting myself into by entering say Karnataka or any other place for the concepts will apply to any regional food. So the concept of Bangalore dosa, it's a misnomer. It's as meaningless as North Indian food. It's a meaningless term. Like, which state are you talking about? Am I to understand that Punjab and UP and Pahadi food are same? Absolutely not. Similarly, if you keep digging deeper, you will unearth all these different kinds of aspects, and that is to me quite fascinating. So to me, understanding culture, food, geography, agriculture and trading, etc., I look at food as a very interesting way to understand all that, and that forms some of the themes. So one is no sambar walk, and Kabanpete is a brilliant way to do that. Then we also do variety thindi. So okay, idli, dosa, vada, great. What else is there? Even you look at khara bhat, kesari bhat. Then we have something called Mangalore buns. Then you have shavige bhat. One thing that Karnataka kind of separate itself from not compared to, but what happens in Karnataka is, because I hate comparisons. I am not a fan of that. So it's very light. So you go to this place called South Kitchen. They serve shavige bhat. It is so light. If you pack it and if you drive for 3 hours and try to get it to your home, it will spoil. It is incredibly light. Now, this looks okay. So, what's the big deal? Now, if you imagine you're manufacturing at a scale, right? But that Darshini, in like about 10 years of time, it is an iconic place. It is one of the rare places in Bangalore which doesn't have dosa on their menu, and it has. And the beauty is that it is the classic Darshini. You leave with your food, so the wait time is zilch. So you pay, and it's a top quality idli vada. My favorites are Gojja Avalakki, and Gojju is like a paste mix that you then mix it with Avalakki, which is flat and rice poha. And it's a sweet and sour, tangy kind of thing that you have with chutney. It is insanely good. But the beauty is that it is very light. Now imagine, usually places that serve food that is manufactured at scale, fats is the easiest way to extend shelf life, right? I can dump a ton of oil. So you see these watts of sabzis and food oil floating in. Now, how do you not only manage with, but if you look at the shavi ke baad, each strand is actually separate. It's not like a glob of food. The fat is the lubricant in principle that you need to keep the strands separate. But this I don't know how the hell they do it. Every single time it is light. You can have 2 plates without blinking and still you will feel hungry. It is so fresh, right? How do you manage that sort of a preparation at that scale with such less fat and keep the... So lot of these technical aspects also get lost in this. Is like, okay, I went there, I had this, it was yum. Sure, absolutely, it is yum. But I am really fascinated by how on earth does someone achieve this quality of food at this less fat content. It is truly fascinating to me.
What is fascinating to me is like, okay, I'm not going to make a number 4 just yet. No, it's like you started off this entire thing by saying you did this, let's say solo for 12, 13, whatever, 14 years or so, right? When you, from the time you came to Bangalore, started running and that ritual and all that. All this, I mean, this is fascinating, like these little tidbits. Are these things that you picked up along the way, or now that you have a new, let's call it responsibility, you are kind of forced to find these things in some way? Like that?
No, so since I'm a scientist, it's
natural
just that
also,
thinking
sure,
comes to me naturally. So when I'm eating and say I'm sitting back in an auto and heading back home, wait a minute, this is really fascinating to me, that this whole thing, that how light can it be and how are you manufacturing at scale. I just thought about it because I am trained to think how this thing happens or how can one do that. I haven't figured out how they do it, but they do it, and it's truly an amazing technical feat. Another example is neer dosa, right? It's very mundane, routine dish for some people, but I find it unbelievably complex. So there's a cast iron tawa. In principle, good neer dosa should never be greasy. So it's a cast iron skillet. The batter is actually what neer is water. So the batter is watery. So you splash the batter and it forms a dosa, and to be able to, and it's churned out at a very rapid rate. To be able to do that without sticking to the tawa, you need a lot of mastery on how to work the heat, the transfer of heat from the cast iron to the batter, when to flip it, when to turn it, without, butchering the dosa into 100 pieces. It is truly a technical sort of a dish. So a lot of these aspects I feel need to be appreciated. And all this technique, I mean, you look at a chef, the chef would charge you for the technical skills, and of course they are at a ridiculously high level. Some of the things that the professional chefs do is mind-boggling, but this rarely gets the kind of appreciation, right? So it's like, I mean, but and then at the price at which all this technical expertise is available to you is mind-blowing to me. So I guess, so that's those are some of the things that trickle down as part of some of these walks. So some some of the themes include, non-sambar walk. So you try asking for sambar, they don't make sambar. So where is the sambar? There is no sambar. Then we do variety Thindi, which is, exploring different regions. So there are these places that serve idli that is made in jackfruit or sal leaves, stuff like that. There is this dish called halbai, which is actually desi panna cotta. It's a pudding and it actually jiggles just like a panna cotta, except, it's a dish that's been made for ages in Karnataka with millets. Now it's made with rice in some cases, but ragi halbai or ragi manni is a very common sweet in Karnataka. So you get to discover all these other things. But what I also tell people is that, see, in these walks, we'll be trying the same dish in multiple places. So if anybody asks you what is the best dosa in Bangalore, my answer is whatever you like. Because I can't shove my preference down anybody's throat. So and it is a very when this really hit me hard is there is a colleague who came from Bihar. Her mom was visiting, and she told me, give me a good dosa place nearby. I said, go here, the dosa is good. So her mom, apparently, when she had the dosa, she said, isse acha to mere ko Bihar mein mil jayega. Now, no, that's the thing. I that was my initial reaction, but then I thought about it, right? Because when you are living in a certain place, your palate gets used to a certain taste. So who am I to say that, who am I to invalidate your experiences? If you think you get better dosa in Bihar, good for you. Just have it and enjoy. That's it. So that's when I started realizing that why am I getting upset?
Or defensive.
There is no point. To me, it is good. For someone else, it may not be that appealing. So hence, when anybody asks me what is the best dosa that you get in Bangalore, my simple answer is you explore these places. These are the different styles. You figure out what you like. And that is why because each place has its own quirks, right? Somebody will, put some amount of ghee. Somebody, the raw materials, like the kind of rice they use, the amount of avalaki they put in the batter, the kind of chutney they smear, the kind of palya they put, the kind of chutney they put on the side. The whole experience is very different. I mean, it's like, let's say if somebody is in Mumbai and they want to go vada pav hunting. For me, it's very easy for me to know what is then vada pav. It's a pav, it's a vada and some chutney and some mirch. That is being grossly reductive, of course, because that the making of the good quality vada, the pav is of the right taste, that good quality fermentation, the ladi pav that we talk about. The chutneys could be different in different places. Some people will put chura, etc. Similarly, if you go to any of these darshinis in Bangalore, the idea is to understand some of these differences and you figure out what place works for you. So, and I think this is, you figure out what works for you, but come with an open mind to try these things is actually the fundamental tenet that we apply in the Thindi Capital group. Like, somebody is trying to attempt to learn. Because I think, thankfully, in the group, we don't have these meaningless city. I find the debates absolutely pointless. Where food is better, here or there, whatever. Boss, come enjoy. If you're coming from a place to enjoy life, this is what this place has to offer. Eat, enjoy, or I don't know, I feel sorry for you. Because you have 24 hours. If you choose to fill it with, I want to prove that something, a set of ideas that I have, the set of beliefs I have is superior or better, I don't know what to say. But it is what it is. There are some things here and there are things that are not here also. So just come enjoy, but come with an open mind and figure out what works for you. So I think that is the core of the group dynamics at Thindi Capital. And I have to give a lot of credit to people for trying their best to adhere to that sort of core principle or whatever.
Wow, that is amazing. Like, that's like a walk we have gone a long way. Like, has this I'm sure Utsav has sharper questions at a very broad meta level, if I might. This outlook that you just said right now, which is kind of like a philosophy, but you're it's manifesting through food, specifically through, say, Bangalore specific cuisine. Has this entire thinking and all that helped you in any other way? Like maybe the way you look at life or work, or maybe when you're traveling somewhere else yourself and saying, hey, I should follow some of my own advice or anything like that?
So I think it's actually a little bit of the other way around. And here a lot of credit goes to my wife Nandini. I think living with her, I think having an open mind has, being a scientist, I have to have an open mind, because if I have to innovate, I can't adhere to things all the time.
Sure.
So I think having that open mind is something that I've had for quite some time, and hence that has manifested in this food, and hence the Thindi Capital community. And I therefore strongly encourage people to have that outlook, at least when they're on Thindi Capital. So it kind of helps. But yeah, let us say even at work or wherever, when I'm trying to have a conversation, I do think, okay, where is this person coming from? When somebody says this sucks, or this is awesome, or this shouldn't be like this is not authentic style or whatever, then I try to understand. Because once you say no, you're wrong, then the room for conversation is over. The fundamental principle is, when you are in an agitated state of mind, there is this logical brain and there is this reptilian brain that lacks logic. So this reptilian brain is slowly taking over. When you feed the reptilian brain, you can't have a conversation. Says, Ocha, what do you mean by authentic? My dadi makes like this. Acha, so I'm sure dadi is a great cook. You must be really liking the taste, the what she adds, how she adds, etc., etc. Yes. Now, obviously, you have one dadi. What if someone else has a dadi and that person says the same thing? It's like, So food in many ways, it's like saying my mom is the best. I hate to say it, but how many moms have you? What is the sample size there? Let's talk statistics. What is your sample size? How many moms? And then you realize, okay, hang on, this is all subjective. Food is highly subjective. So, and I do understand that at the end of the day, if you look at it from a historical perspective, there is a lot of elements of community, politics, etc., etc. So yes, of course, I'm not denying that, but if you're just looking to explore a certain place, why not come with an open mind? If you don't like it, that's perfectly okay. But to come with a lot of preconceived notion, that is usually discouraged, because then, and this is a very interesting parallel at work. As a scientist, when you're trying to innovate, if you already come with a bias, your ability to innovate inherently is poorer. If you come with an open mind where, okay, this is what I'm trying to innovate, this is my hypothesis. So let's say I have a technical challenge. It's X. I'm trying to now crack this. So I'll have a hypothesis. It's this. I can't say, oh, it is this. Let me do the experiments and filter that data that suits that particular hypothesis selectively. That is a horrible way to innovate. And perhaps you will end up with either no innovation or a subpar innovation.
P-value hacking, as they call it.
A lot of stuff. So now instead of that, okay, let me look at this holistically. My objective is to understand why this is happening. Let me throw in all kinds of hypotheses, test them, fairly. So conduct the experiment, gather all the data and understand which supports and which doesn't support, and then assign a realistic probability that this is probably the best way to solve this under the given, budget and time constraints. So since my training is like that, so even when I'm approaching food, that is my approach. So when let's say I travel to Assam, I want to explore the local cuisine there, and it is terrific by the way. So you get to learn a lot about, and the more you learn, the better you become usually. So, and that is kind of the mindset that I at least try to adopt in personal life, and that is the mindset that I encourage for people to adopt in the WhatsApp group as well.
So, a couple of times in this conversation, you have touched upon fermentation, you touched upon heat transfer, right? And I get what you are saying in terms of how your training as a scientist helps you look at those processes objectively, all the while maintaining that there is subjectivity in food.
Yeah.
Right? I want to take that entire thing a little further and talk about culture and storytelling.
Okay.
Right? Like, for example, when I went to the Kabanpet walk with you, right? We didn't dive straight into the food, even though when we were standing outside that place and we could see it was very heavy. But you actually gave us a sense of what this place has been and what this history has been.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is integral to the way you conduct your walks?
So I go back to this word called purpose, which is quite used in corporate culture these days. If you're clear about why you're doing what you're doing, or at least have a bit of a sense check on, why is the food that you're about to have a little distinct, then it just enriches the experience, is my personal view. So therefore, and that area is truly rich in history. I barely scrape the it's not like I have uncovered it or something. I just read blogs, basic stuff that is public domain information. But then I think that because if you have the mindset that you are using food as a tool to understand culture and people, then this also sort of naturally comes to you. And I personally make it a point that, this area is rich in history, because that also sets the expectations already, that what I'm about to taste or what I'm about to have is not the, usual stuff. So instead of making the experience like I went here, I had this, I went here, I had this, which is what you do. So taking that example of B.N. Sambai as a tiffin room, so that whole area, that vada curry and dosa, it's a very quintessential, tea and sort of a preparation. But then you learn about how, influx of Mudaliar community X years ago happened, etc., etc., and hence these places have sprung up in Bangalore, and they've existed for the last solid 30-40 years comfortably, if not more. So once you go kind of listen to that sort of stuff or share that sort of stuff, there is this some sort of understanding or appreciation that how Bangalore has evolved as a city, or what are some of the things that have happened in the past. So I feel adding that element just enriches the overall experience. And it's, I don't know, the word is, for me, it is a kida. Like, why do you have to understand this? It is inherent kida in me, which I unfortunately or fortunately inflict on other people also right before the walk. I think that is probably the shortest and sweetest answer. I have a kida to know and understand. That's pretty much.
No, it's interesting. Like, I mean, of all the things that you've said so far, the thing that I remember the most is, I mean, apart from the crispiness of the vada, we will discuss that later, is like how you theorized that the dosa in one particular place was filled with fat because the workers of that area were likely to be involved in manual labor, and makes me think that that's not probably just the case with food. It could be the case with absolutely anything else, and it is the case with everything else. Like the blues were born in the US out of a certain kind of restriction to access to instruments. They had to make do with what they had, all that sort of thing. Hip hop was born in the minimalist sort of musical setups that, let's face it, those kids in the Bronx could afford or purloin at the time. And it makes me feel like any aspect of culture, and I'm including food and music into this, arises these little quirks as which might become full-blown genres by themselves later, or cuisines later. They start because of very practical things in people's lives, rather than folks like us who are sitting and theorizing, okay, what is your intersection, what are, all that sort of thing, and could be because of very practical reasons like this. Like, it's like when I was a kid, I remember my mind was blown when our teacher said we are all we Indians are darker because we have developed melatonin because not melatonin, melanin because of the sun. And I'm like, oh wow, that's interesting. So it's kind of fascinating, like how the background in many ways shapes what comes later, or the occupation in some sense. I don't have a question over there.
No,
it's just an observation.
Actually, if we talk about the origin of rava idli, right? I think you should tell that story, because it's one of the most interesting stories of. A lot of people think, oh, it's a super old thing. It's not really. It's a very new thing. Let's talk about that.
You go for. I think this is your domain.
Don't spoil it. Like, eventually, when I get Bangalore domicile and I'm hence able to come onto the group and hence I'm able to come onto the walk, I will figure out the story. So don't.
If Bangalore can accept Whitefield, Rave Idli is Bangalore. Don't worry.
No, I don't think that is the point. Bangalore hasn't accepted me yet. That's the problem.
Oh, you have to come here.
Ah,
No.
that's right. Yeah.
At least come and live in the fringes like I do in Sarjapur Road. No, matlab.
Yeah,
Then you will hopefully have some acceptance.
Yeah, right.
You can't live in Pune and say now you want to be part of Bangalore.
Yeah, okay, but go on. In that case, tell me the story.
Right. So essentially, the thing was very simple, right? This was the late 70s, I think, where there was India was battling food shortages, right? And the problem for us essentially was that we were not able to actually get enough rice. And the option the US gave, well, you can import wheat,
Yeah.
but who is eating wheat in southern India? People, it's not.
Oh,
a
yes,
part-
of course. And
yeah, it's not a part of what people eat because simply does not grow in the landscape around, right? So much of what we eat is just what grows around us, and our food traditions are literally like 50 kilometers of where you live is what you traditionally have eaten and so on. And so that's when actually the concept of rava really came in as a
And hence
substitute.
upma. Yeah.
And hence upma, and MTR was actually the place which brought about the rave idli into the lexicon of food of at least Bangalore. I don't know about other parts of Karnataka.
So Upma is basically content marketing for wheat.
Yeah, you can say
that.
right. And that's what I really like about it because to me it completely smashes the authenticity debate.
Yeah.
What is authentic? There is nothing authentic in food. Right, and as you rightly said, right, your dadis is authentic for you, another person's dadi is authentic for them.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why I like this entire thing, this story personally a lot because every time someone tells me that, oh, I had authentic food, I am like, authentic to what, bro? Like, tell me and I'll go.
And another reason I love these kind of stories is that, see, when you said this comes from the late 70s, I was thinking, the century? But no, it was the late 70s. And you also said something, and this is the 1940s. Like, so much of what we consider as authentic or whatever which you assume was there since, 10,000 years is relatively recent.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, again, not a question, more just a observation. But yeah, I think just going back to storytelling and content and all that, have you become like a sort of like you're obviously when you go from three people informally going to one place to now having the responsibility again, here's that word again, curating a walk, like has a storytelling aspect kind of gotten sharp? Has a storytelling muscle got exercised in some way?
I don't know because it hardly occupies the first 2 minutes. I just explain the theme. Why? So, so let us say, so one is this Kabanpet / Shivaji Nagar side.
yeah.
Then even in South Bangalore, I realized that South Bangalore, one walk we did recently was underrated places in South Bangalore, which is, if you're going for the Vidyarthi Bhavans, which are amazing, of course, it is very easy to miss a lot of these places.
Sure.
So I think the number of people who have been introduced to the Nam SLN next to Vidyarthi Bhavan is not funny. It is truly a hole in the wall place. But okay, here's the other very interesting thing why I like doing these walks, right? Now, and Namma SLN is one of my favorite places to illustrate this point. So it is a Kabanpete style dosa, lovely stuff. It is located about 100 meters away from Vidyarthi Bhavan. And it's truly a hole in the wall place. It's very easy to miss it because there are these fruit stalls and there's a flower market going on the other side of the road. It's very easy to walk past it and not even acknowledge its existence. Now, there they have dill idli. So they put dill in the batter, dill in the dosa batter. They have standard idli, again no sambar, with Kabanpete style. So in the heart of Basvanagudi, you have a Kabanpete style place which doesn't make sambar. Even if you ask for sambar, there is no sambar. There is chutney, there is palav, Muddanna style palav. So here's the other thing. The Muddanna palav is the textbook example of how to distinguish the words hot and spicy. When you eat that palav, you get notes from lot of spices, cloves, some cardamom, some cinnamon, some the pepper, bunch of things. But the capsaicin level is next to none.
So it's spicy.
It is spicy. It is loaded with spices, but it is not hot at all. So this is perhaps again a part of the storytelling thing. Now that place is truly a hole in the wall. It's actually narrower than this room and maybe few feet longer. That is the place. and 50% of it is for kitchen. The remaining 50% is for just people to order and collect their stuff. And you have to get out of the store, stand and eat. So we order, there are 40 people, 8 masala dosa, 8 plates of idli, open dosa, bath masala dosa, give me plates of palau. You order a lot of stuff. And then, everybody's done eating, taking pictures, all that stuff. So are we ready to leave? Yes, let's go to the next. I said, no. Why? We've not paid yet. That guy is relying on your memory to tell him honestly what all you had, after which he makes a bill, after which you pay. It is so easy in principle to eat and walk, yet nobody does that. I find that amazing. This is not like, this happened 18. No, even today, if you go, that is their modus operandi. Because there is so much rush, you cannot afford to stand at it. Sir, you go eat and come back. And there is a feature of lot of Kabanpete style Darshinis which have not become too mainstream yet. So let's say my favorite SK tiffin room. If you offer, sir, see, they refuse to take payment before you eat the food. Wow. And that I find is unbelievably awesome in 2024. So because we talk about what a business, cash flow, blah blah blah, and then you see this happening right in front of your eyes. So all these things. So every time I go to Namma SLN, I try to pull this. Are we ready to go to the next place? Yes. No, we haven't paid. And you are. Then people jokingly say, "What happens if I leave?" Yeah, you can leave without paying. You can do that, but nobody does it, and that I find charming or endearing or whatever. Okay.
That's a great example of storytelling plus performance, all that together.
It's a wonderful, the trust is really fascinating.
As you were saying all this, like, just hold on to that thought because I don't want you to lose it. But the more I'm listening to you, the more it feels like what you're actually kind of doing is storytelling through demonstration in many ways. Right? I know, like, I'm thinking very meta over here. That's also because I am not part of the group, hence, etc., as we have established many times before.
Otherwise, I have to keep hearing this for the rest of my life.
All pressure too. The jokes apart, like, it's like you're talking about a history. You're talking about, say, it could be the science, say fermentation or whatever. It could be because of a theory like the manual labor sort of thing, or it could be like about something like, look at the whole payment thing that you spoke about right now. You're talking about something and then you're kind of demonstrating it, right? Demonstrating either in terms of you go tulp the food and you can experience this for yourself, or this thing that you've eaten hundreds of times before, now you're experiencing it in a completely different way, or like the human trust or whatever. To me, everything that you're talking about over here really is demonstration of content through demonstration. I don't know what to call it, but it's just that, and makes sense because these are physical walks, so it's not a PowerPoint presentation. We're talking about all this in the abstract. So I just wanted to make that observation.
It's true. I mean, since I'm an experiment driven scientist, I mean, what better way to show like a demo, if you will. Makes sense. So so then we do these underrated places. Of course, now Namma SLN is not underrated. It is as iconic as it gets.
It's rated.
It's rated rightly, and it's rated iconic for a very
Somebody
good
once
reason.
said about VVS Lakshman on Twitter, right? He's the most overrated, underrated cricketer.
And I think and Dravid is the most unsung hero.
Dravid is the most sung about, unsung player. Correct. Oh goodness, yeah.
So then we have these underrated places where we do the standard Gandhi Bazar, Basavanagudi area, but go to places which are, by the way, 40-50 years old. But when I say underrated, it's more like you don't see them on reels, or you don't see much about them on social media, so to speak. So that forms a theme. Then, of course, for me, I also am upfront in saying that, after metro, I have explored Bangalore like anything. So places like Vijayanagar and all, where I have done a few walks now. So it's like we'll explore Vijayanagar, but with a variety of things. So there is a Davangere Bende dosa at this place, which I think is good. And, there is this, by the way, there is a very nice, interesting place called Mane Idli. It's called House of Idli. It's actually a couple, their house. and they have this idli place in Vijayanagar. I think one idli 7 rupees. You get for 15 rupees 2 idlis, chutney, sambar.
Only in
Unlimited,
Bangalore.
only chutney and sambar. This is this year, by the way. I'm not saying 30 years or whatever. It's called money. It is very homely. Food is good. But to get there is a bit of an interesting thing. It's on Google Maps. It's not there are some secret places, but to get there is a bit of an interesting thing. I need to include this in the food walk. But when I went there for the first time, I'm like, okay, this is a house, good food, and I had a plate of idli, 2 idlis and sambar and chutney. I'm like, how much? 15. I mean, are you joking with me right now? Like, it can't be happening. So the other point that I illustrate is the cost. So what these darshinis have fundamentally done is by cutting seating and service, they really pump in the expenses into money and they pass the cost benefit to me. Today I can get you good masala dosa for 35-40 rupees in Bangalore. There are so many places that do that.
Yeah.
My favorite masala dosa, they increase the rate by $10 today, but still to me the best masala dosa in Bangalore costs 60 rupees. That is it. I should never have to pay triple digits to get a good masala dosa in Bangalore ever. So, but I understand places that do this. If you go to a Taj and ask for, of course they'll charge in triple because they have to charge for a whole bunch of things. But if I go to these hole in the wall darshan, like even the heaviest ghee loaded bhat masala dosa you will get for 80 rupees. That is it.
Absolutely.
I mean, we rarely in the walks, nothing. In fact, I can't remember. So it's like 30-40 people. And we check out 5 places. We nibble the entire menu practically. So each person gets to taste easily 15-16 things very comfortably. And the per person's share, we have a record. It has never exceeded 160 rupees.
Wow.
Never. It has never exceeded 160 bucks. The other thing that I have to mention now that I have an opportunity is chaat. Because... the chaat scene in Bangalore is very interesting, right? And for a person who moves from a different geography where there is a certain type of chaat prevailing is kind of different, right? Because so here the whole boiled piece kind of chaat thing is very fascinating. But not only that, the chaat here is actually extremely light. So there is not much emphasis on deep fried. So let's say when you say tikki, the first thing that comes to your mind is an aloo
fried
tikki.
aloo tikkis, yeah.
So no, here it's that papdi equivalent.
Got it. Okay.
So on that you put tomatoes, cucumber, spices, save, etc., etc. But then things get interesting where let's say you use banana stem in a chaat. That is usually not the case, but we have Bale Dindu is a very common thing in chaat these days. Then we have the finger boti thing. So it's like the finger chips that looks like a big finger. They slice it down the middle and then top it. So that is a boti masala of sorts. So I think this guy Pranav came to Bangalore, Floridian. So we did a fun chaat session with him, where we experience some of these things. So there is a pineapple masala. So you take pineapple slice, slather it with one type of chutney, put some things, layer on. So it's like a gigantic tower of pineapples with different kinds of. It is really, really amazing. Some of the creativity is truly off the charts. Then you have sprouts masala. Then you have the Congress kadle kai masala. Then we take these things and start putting them between a bun and then enjoy madi. Gulkan and butter in a bun, enjoy madi. And of course my personal favorite still remains the ice cream bhaji, which is amazing stuff. So you take this choco bar, put it in not the bhaji, standard bhaji batter, in a crumbly sort of a mixture. It is frozen and kept ready in front of you. That fellow will flash deep fry in front of you and give it to you. It is truly spectacular. It is truly, once you have to try it in Jayanagar at that cart. It is a fantastic experience. So in addition to the idli, dosa, etc., there is some amount of, this also happens here, by the way. So it's a very afternoon phenomenon. Then just to bring in the element of seasonality, because you mentioned, Utsav, right, that the concept of food is what is local, that is cooked. So between, say, mid-November to mid-Jan, there is a avarekadu season, avare bele.
Oh, yeah.
Because the production of tuar dal comes to a halt due to weather, and after the next harvesting, that Pongal Sankranti thing is when the crop begins or whatever. So during that time, avare bele becomes very popular. So in sambars, in lot of other things, avare bele is used heavily. So during that time, if we do a walk, we make it a point to have a place that serves kali dosa with hitkin bele. Hitkin bele is, so this avare bele has a skin. So when you hitkin means to squeeze and press. So you remove that waxy skin, you get the actual bean, and then you make a sambar out of it or a huli out of it, and then you serve it with a kali dosa, or you put it inside obattu, which is a poli, but it's now boiled and mashed thing. So we try to cover a lot of these things in these walks. So it's like you said, it's food, yes, but you also try to embed other elements, be it the trust thingy, or be it this is how community has evolved, or to bring in an element of seasonality. So all these things, when you rinse, repeat, it keeps things fresh for me also.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, there are only so many themes that you can humanly do.
Yeah.
But doing these again and again, it's a lot of fun for me also.
Because no, to me, and again, I'm being a little meta over here, and actually, you've kind of helped me with this because you have shown this. Like it's almost like food is the excuse to tell these stories in some ways, or these human connections or whatever. You said it with the dosa idli kind of food, and you've also now spoken about it from a chart point of view. And I would like to think that you have been, say, on architecture walks that cover pretty much the same kind of principles. Like these buildings are built in this kind of way because these workers had to go up the stairs, and these are whatever, right? It again seems to me like these themes are universal, but the things that you use to explain them, food, chart, architecture, music, maybe whatever, could be different. Again, mine are just meta observations and not really questions. But
what I really like about these walks is that like all good art goes beyond what the creator thinks of it and the person. Like for me, a classic example of this is that there's this whole revival of millets happening in India, right? Ragi mudde is eaten every single day in Bangalore and across Karnataka.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So the moment you now start thinking of it, okay, there was no revival. I mean, ragi is very much a part of what people hear. And then suddenly in your head, you will start thinking, oh, there's a place called Ragi. It's a forested area and everything, right? Which means at some point there must be millets grown there or something of that sort, right? So what the beauty of this is, now, for example, the Jayanagar thing, right? You mentioned Gandhi Bazaar in Pasin. There's something called Congress peanuts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering whether that was a typo.
What he said is exactly that. And the beauty of it is, it may sound extremely political in the current context, but the story of that Congress peanuts in Gandhi Bazaar, I think you can still get it, right? The place is still there, right?
Yeah, Srinivas Iyengar bakery.
Srinivas Iyengar bakery, right? So it was that because the British were trying to clamp down on any resistance, the papers in which they used to sell peanuts actually had messages.
Okay.
And the Congress party workers used to, rotate those peanuts and messages, and that's why it's called Congress peanuts, right? And it's damn tasty. You should just have it for the taste. Forget the story. It's amazing to have, and I come for more time. What is this?
I know. Well, a lot of other things. That is one theory. One is Congress party was splitting, so that's why these Kadalekai look split. And it was also very
that
common.
Feels like a bit of post-facto rationalization.
It's also good chakna for drinks, which was made very popular by politicians. Majority of whom were in cause. So there are a bunch of theories floating around. This is definitely one of them. And the other thing is that one of the things that kept coming is my walks. I am a vegetarian, so I can't do meat-based walks. But now we have Deepak in our group who actually does a meat Thindi walk. So you get to explore different kinds of meat preparations, because the very interesting thing in Bangalore is that at 5 to 6 in the morning, you have all these military hotels open, which give you like tatte idli with kal soup, mutton biryani, and this whole head to toe cooking that is gaining a lot of popularity in the sustainability bit where, let's say, you have an animal, you have to utilize every part of it.
Yeah.
It turns out SG Military Rao has been doing it for the last 110 years in Bangalore anyway. So you get to kind of get introduced to that aspect as well. So if you, let's say, if you're interested in doing a meat-based Thindi walk, then Deepak is doing a fantastic job. So we are trying to really provide an experience that is as diverse as possible. So that is something, a lot of kudos to Deepak, because it's not easy, right? Because to gather people and, eat this kind of rice, this kind of preparation, at that too in the morning, I find it tough to do. Doesn't mean everyone else does it, but to put in the effort to curate the right kind of places. Now, of course, logistics is also a key part of the planning. Like, I can't ask people to come to some, people will come. That's the beauty of this group. But I try to say, this is closest to this metro, so that it makes it easier for people to access. And so that's also part of the plan. So the start and end point should preferably be closer to a metro. Now that we have a metro, might as well use it. So all those things put together, and to then now add this extra fantastic element of you get to relish a lot of these meaty preparations is something that I really, really admire Deepak for.
And that's the beauty of it, right? Like, it started with only Ajit doing the walks. And now Deepak has joined. There are a couple of other people who also do walks, once in a while. And no one has told them to do this. It's just completely voluntary, out of their own choice. They make the effort. They will go and do the recce. They will figure out everything, spend their own time and money. And people are also equally enthusiastic. And I think that is a great part of being of a community.
Yes.
Right?
You have the legend Vikram, of course. He's like an encyclopedia of Bangalore in general. So
and a good time to plug the fact that Vikram has joined the second cohort of the 6% Club. I have been pushing him to say, Vikram, you have to write a book about Bangalore and its history and its stories.
He has to.
Because he's absolutely the right person. I'm like, Bangalore is your muse. You should just put everything on paper now.
Yes, that is true. He should. Definitely. It's like, when is Shenoy writing a book like that?
He's part of cohort 1, by the way.
By the Shenoy is part of cohort 1. He has written 100,000 words for his book. Nice. We have managed to get that out of him now.
That's the promo banner has ended. Has ended. Yeah.
Very nice. So I like you said, it's a Thindi is a way to learn and explore stuff. That is crudely how I put it. And I can't thank the people enough, because it is easier said than done. Everybody's obviously, it's like, you should cross the road properly, you should drive safely, and yet we know what happens on the road. So it's easy for things to fall apart very, very quickly. That too in times where attention spans are waning like anything, and you have so many things to talk about, and it's very easy to live in your own bubble and form judgments, etc., etc. I genuinely think that to keep a group of 1,000+ people with this quality of engagement and but to me the best part is the true intent to keep it civil and keep it open-minded. I do give a lot of credit to every member in the group. It's really, really fantastic job done by the group. That is something that perhaps is the most dearest to me about this.
And we have at no point till now spoken about the t-shirts we are wearing.
Oh yes, Kapi Aita, yes.
Yes, these t-shirts are an origin of the Thindi Capital group.
Yes, indeed. Anubha is the creator, along with Vikram, of course, the concept, but the art is by Anubha Upadhyaya. She's art by Anubha, and she designed this, and then of course we wanted to grab a piece, and I told Vikram, may I request for one with collar, and he said, you may have to pay extra. I don't care, please, by all means. And
yeah, so you're the only person who has a collared t-shirt.
Yes.
And one thing which I really want to mention is that Ajit's reactions are known to be so legendary that we now in the group have stickers of his faces which people send to react to things. So it's nobody is like, okay, yeah, regular emojis are there, and there are Ajit's face
emoji. No,
face emojis. I have 3 or 4 of them saved on my phone.
No, we'll get 5 or 6 out of this chat
itself. Yeah. In fact, what we'll ask the editor to do is actually have it on the screen itself, in the video itself.
Yeah. Oh, in the video itself.
Yeah.
That and
Ajit reacting to badges.
my personal favorite is Rupesh as a sticker, that SK Tiffin Room owner. We call him the supreme dealer because he deals that bath masale for all the Kaban Park run, followed by the SK Tiffin Room dosa. So yeah, we have some fun stickers. Yes, that is true.
Yeah. I don't know where to take this now.
I don't know.
What would you do in a walk when you don't know, or you always have sort of like a route in mind?
I do. I plan. I mean, I'll be honest.
We're not.
I prepare for this well in advance.
What are the moving parts? Let me put it that way. Like, it's a group of 25 people. You have.
So let me tell you how it works. So we have an announcement group where only admins can.
No, I'm not talking about that. That I understand. I'm talking about the walk itself. Right. Suppose you plan from, say whatever, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Start here, end here. What are the kind of moving parts that might be there? So let me give you a little bit of context, right? Or another example. We had Jishnu from Swaratma who came and he said something beautiful, which actually one of the examples that you gave resonated with me, which is the vocalist would always spend time with the audience to figure out what the general vibe is, so that then they could tailor the set list accordingly. So, when to bring in what kind of songs, this kind of audience, all that sort of thing. And that example that you gave a while back when you said you have one person whose job is literally to see what, I know that is more from a quantitative perspective and this is more qualitative, but still that parallel was there to me, sort of. I forgot where I was going with this entire thing.
Moving parts is what you mentioned.
Sorry?
Moving parts.
What are the moving parts?
The moving parts. So, like, what could possibly go wrong? Maybe people want to spend more time over here.
Yeah.
Like, how do you control for all that?
Fair enough. So,
it's a more ops question than a content question. But
so, I try to call the places in advance and just ask if they're open. I don't tell anybody. So none of these places know that
really?
they're no.
Wow, okay.
But that is to me no fun. That sucks the fun out of it. So
why would that suck the fun out of it? I mean, what's the food is not going to change?
It's not going to change, but I don't want them to do anything special.
You don't want to do anything special.
No. One thing which I like is that there are times, for example, not just a wait, in a longer walk, let's say you start at 8 and you end up at a place at 10. Some items are already out.
They're done.
Now, if you tell them, they will unnecessarily make more.
I don't want that.
Why you want to upset their rhythm of doing things, right? They have a certain... And I like the fact that if it's out, it's out.
Exactly.
Like, what is the big deal?
So that is a test. So that is why a lot of these places, I make it a point to either start there or go there by a certain time.
Right.
So simple example is, this Namme SL, and they run out of Sabzike idlis by 10 o'clock. It's too late. And then so one of these walks, it happened. And then I sort of use that to illustrate that, people who are thinking Bangalore is lazy, people get up at 9, 10, shops don't open at 9, 10, items are over by 10. These places open at 6:37 and they are done by 2 o'clock.
They get up at 10 because they probably finished breakfast and are sleeping.
Exactly.
Get up at 10.
Exactly. So that became another sort of a myth. But okay. Now, so what I do is I just call them and ask them, are you open on this day? And that is it. So they have no idea that, the gang of 40-50 people will descend upon them and, like those army military ants and just ravage through the food and then move to the next
More
place.
like locusts, I think.
Something, more like
ants
locusts.
is very kind to us.
Okay,
the
fair
way
enough.
we devour food there.
Fair enough. So that keeps the element of spontaneity. I don't want to disrupt anybody's rhythm. And So I have a theme and a place in mind, or list of places in mind. All I do is I call them and make sure they are open on that day. And I just then set the scene to the people saying, so I form a separate WhatsApp group for the event. I share the knowledge in advance. Like, look, this is the theme. This is the starting point. We'll meet on this day, this time. It's close to this metro station. And I strongly encourage people to take public transport or Uber or Ola auto types, because lot of these cases parking is next to none. Forget 4-wheeler, even 2-wheeler parking scene is not very good. So, and I tell them, try to carry a spoon with you, because 50 people are suddenly showing up. Chances are they may run out of crockery and that may inconvenience other customers also. So there is a lot of planning that happens on the side. So when people show up, they know what to expect, and then it's more like along the lines of execution. I am yet to face a situation where, let's say, oh my god, this place got shut down, so what to do next? But thankfully the areas where we deal with, there is no shortage of options. It's like it's like a black hole of Darshini in terms of sheer density, the number of places, and therefore the alternatives that you can chalk out on the go is extremely easy. So okay. So no, I do this involves preparation and calling, making sure things are lined up, and then you try to execute it to the best of its. And I think things go really well because I also feel the fact that there is no monetary thing involved. It's not like I have a tie-up to these places, so I am getting money, somebody's
or
paying.
that you have a financial incentive for it.
Sorry?
Or that you have a financial incentive for it.
I don't, right?
Yeah, that's what.
Exactly. So I don't
that
have.
silence made me like, is there actually like
No.
Yeah.
And
So there is no tie-up with any of these people.
In fact, you should talk about what you are doing with Rangde also.
Okay.
Oh.
Recently, yeah. So I'm encouraging people to voluntarily contribute for Rang Day.
The social investing organization.
The social investing organization. Sukhada and Smita.
Yeah.
Sukhada, of course, I haven't met her. I know her through social media. Smita has been to one of these walks, and in fact, I organized one for Rang Day. So then the cause is good and it's very easy to do it. So now I am saying, can you consider volunteering like 150 bucks per person for this? So we've managed to raise some funds for Rang Day, and that is also a very fun thing. So okay. So in terms of sheer ops, it involves good amount of preparation. So it has to be a 2 to 3 kilometer tops, covering 4 to 5 places tops. And this kind of food, or it can be the same kind of food, but the area takes a precedence. So it depends on the theme that you present. But the beauty is there are no surprises to people because walks happen on the weekend, say Saturday or Sunday. So we put an announcement on Monday or Tuesday itself, form the group by Thursday. So by Thursday or Friday, people know that these are the places we are going to cover. Right. I have to meet here at this time. Most likely these are the things that I'm going to be having. So people are aware. So it's laid out in front of them already. So the room for any surprise or mismatch of expectations is slim. Therefore, things go quite smoothly. Of course, every now and then I throw in a surprise. One of my favorites to do is when you're doing a South Bangalore tour in the NR colony area. There is a very chotu shop called Mukambika Bhaji Condiments and Chaat Center. And they do a very nice rave vade early in the morning. So it's made fresh and it's kept. So let's say if I'm doing a South Kitchen or a Dwarka, so I make it a point that when we go there, you just grab few of these vades on the go, munch and go off. So I try to throw in a surprise every now and then just to keep things more interesting. So some of these fun things. But yeah, it involves quite a bit of preparation and quite a bit of thinking, like why am I choosing this particular place? So so let's say I'm choosing these 4 places. Why? What is the variety that I'm providing, or why am I choosing this particular place? So that becomes hence the theme of. So for me mentally, I think I form the theme first, then in this area we can figure this out. Then the things fall in place. Okay, if that's the theme I'm having, these places are good. And now it has become like a involuntary reflex action or whatever. So if I wanted this, I think these are the places that will cover the theme. So I think about it, then I'll announce it on like 4 or 5 days in advance. People will sign up, and then we go about forming the group and doing the walk. So it's kind of become like a bit of a clockwork at this point.
Also, one thing it's important to talk about is there are these when you think of time, right? There is something called a liminal moment, which is a moment between 2 moments. That is how fast sometimes some of these walks fill out. You get a thing 8. And the thing is, there's a rule which says that the first slots will be open to people who have never been on a walk. Because it's 1,000 people, right? Like not everyone has been on a walk. And then if there are spots left, then anyone can join. It will come at, let's say, 8 p.m. Even before your WhatsApp can make it 8:01, it's sold out.
Now imagine the number of pings which will be coming to Ajit or whoever's running a phone, because it's like you have to DM. You don't like, because it's an announcement group. So you can't like say anything there.
Yeah.
Right? It must have, I'm sure it must be like, tuck, 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 tuck,
It's
like
a very-
notification after notification. So to ensure that people don't miss out on that, there is a pre-announcement of that announcement. Because people are like, "Arey, I was at office, I could not see this, that."
Yes. So at 9 a.m. or whatever,
that
I'll
waiting room that Ticketmaster has to do before
something
Taylor Swift
like that,
tickets
yes.
go on sale.
Something like that.
Ajit Bhaskar, you are the Taylor Swift of dosa in. This is the episode title. The Taylor Swift of Bangalore Thindi is Ajit Bhaskar. Yeah, there we go. Done. Yeah.
Wow,
At least the
okay.
episode title is done now.
Yeah, and he's talking about Bangalore through various time periods. You can say that these walks are really the era stores as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
I went there. I have no other
good.
information
That
about
is
Taylor Swift. Sorry.
Is good.
Bad guy? No, no, never mind. Wow.
So
okay.
it is true. So
Unsubscribes are
now it's
happening.
like so we announce. I tell them in the morning at least 6-7 hours in advance. At this time, I'll be announcing the slots. And yeah, first half an hour is only for first timers, and after that it's for everyone else, because that's actually a result of a feedback that people said that I am seeing that same people are signing up again and again. As a first timer, I'm not getting an opportunity. So then, okay, there is a very fair point.
Yeah.
So okay, then we came up with this rule that whoever is organizing, unless it's a very niche kind of a walk, but for any standard walk, we have a rule that first you have to give preference to first timers, and after that anyone else can come. Of course, with me, I mean, Deepak is non-negotiable because he really helps organize. Without him, the walks become quite challenging to organize. So Deepak is a given. Other than that, number of people can come. And now I think then there is a concept of +1, etc., etc. So we had to limit at some point in time, because then +1 suddenly became once like +3, and also then a group of 40 became group of 60, and roaming 60 people in Kabanpet is quite challenging. I mean,
It stops traffic. I mean,
it actually stops traffic. It's kind of fun, right? So because Vijayanagar, I remember doing this. There are some 50 people roaming. So we had to pass through the Vijayanagar police station. Said, what are you people doing? No, the cops actually came. What are you people doing? Is it a protest or a dharna? No, sir. We are just friends eating breakfast. Oh, which hotel you are going? This is. Oh,
Did they join?
Good. No, they didn't join. Good. Yeah, please go. And one of the times, I
That's
think
a great tip for anyone who's actually protesting. Like, oh, with your friends going for a breakfast.
And another time, I think in Jayanagar, former corporator, I think his name was Mr. Somashekar. I didn't know him, of course. So we were again, there's a place called Eat First, lovely idlis. We were just belting nicely. He came, "Hi, what are you doing?" Of course, he came from a place of having a conversation. Then we just said, sir, it's a group of people, oh, where are you coming from? Whitefield. Then Indra, Koramangala. Then I told him, the idea is to introduce people to good food in Bangalore style food, very good Darshinis in South Bangalore. That's why we are choosing this. Oh, very nice. Good. Huh? So then he told me, I is former corporator or what. Oh, thank, very nice. Can I join next? Please. He didn't join, but very sweet. And then, he asked me, where are you guys going next? So I remember Melukote Puliyogare house. Because here it's idli, there it's Puliyogare and Amber. Namudugan they go. Apna hi ladka. It's my dude's place. Just go enjoy. So he's kind of funny because people do get bit wary of seeing suddenly like a swarm of peoples. And lot of these places actually they go through residential areas. So sometimes I have to request people to keep the noise level a little bit less, because you are literally, so from one place to another, you are walking through a residential street. There are nothing but these apartment buildings, and these are chotu buildings, like hardly 2 stories. And people also suddenly somebody is drying clothes. Who are these people? Some 50 people are going. It's a very
now I'm
amusing
thinking,
sight.
Ajit, we are all wearing this t-shirt, so many of us, and it's a black t-shirt. It can totally look like a funeral or a protest.
Or a metal concert is what I was also thinking. But okay,
Yeah, most people in Kavanpet don't think of metal concerts.
Sure, fair. Okay.
But this reminds me of I went to Chepauk Stadium to watch a match. I was not allowed because I was wearing a black shirt. By the way. Some Sri Lanka thing was happening, and some, are you protesting? I'm like, boss,
It's got a filter coffee on it.
No, not this shirt. I was wearing a black t-shirt. And I was not allowed in the stadium. He's like, put something else on top and come. No, then I'll like, what? No. I had to do that, by the way. Otherwise, I was not allowed in the stadium. It's a very interesting thing, but as an aside, but yeah. But I can see how this uniform thing can barrel towards a misunderstanding. Maybe I should be careful.
Careful. For all you know, 6 months down the line, the walks become so big that Ajit is basically going to police station. Sir, permission for food walk. And they are like, what? This is what police has become now? People are taking permission for food walk.
Yeah, you never know where this might go.
Yeah, another shirt, no? Dosa instead of nasa.
I missed that thing. I wanted to get those. I missed it out.
I'll put another announcement.
Please do.
Whoever wants, please join off. We'll
Super.
do one more round of dosa t-shirt. That's good stuff too.
Yeah.
But yeah, even coincidentally, that is also a black t-shirt.
Yeah.
I am getting wary of the fact that suddenly 40 people wearing a black t-shirt. Hopefully, when they see the t-shirt, some doubts are erased. But still, it's a possibility.
I think we just need to wear a red bandana here, and then we are like full protest mode, full on.
I think we need to bring this back to.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Deviating a fair bit.
Yeah. Actually, for me, in the sense that the whole T-shirt, and which is coming from the group itself, talks of Kapi Aita, right? And this is something which I asked Vikram about this, and he told me that Kapi Aita, of course, in Kannada means have you had your coffee, but the real meaning of that is actually to check on the well-being of your loved ones, and and also, of course, it's an invitation to have coffee if you had not got coffee, but it's almost like asking everything's okay, how's life going, and so on and so forth. And to me, in that way, it actually beautifully captures the spirit of the community, because of course it's about food and everything, but there are these personal connections you will form. I'm sure you would have formed so many of them, right? And met people. So to me, when we say that good art has the ability to bring people together, this is also a very good example of the same thing. To say that just a simple thing of love for food, and to what level you can sort of take it. And I think that is my favorite part of being a part of Thindi Capital. And yeah, I really don't have any more questions, because I can go talking about food and this for the longest time. But I think you have want to ask.
Nothing at all, actually. Like, there's only one thing, like, to tie this all back to, the power of community and all that. I remember this one quote somewhere that, and I think you only told me this, so I'm floundering with respect to remembering it. But there's something about the separation between art and art. The artist stops becoming the artist, and then the
so it's called the birth of the death of the author and the birth of the reader.
Yeah.
So that's it, like that, right? Like
not that we hope that you conk, but what you're saying is you start
literally. So the metaphor.
You start with literally and then you go metaphorically, right? Again, that's great, Ajit. Reaction just come up.
That's the beauty of it. Everything is a video now.
Everything is a video. Yeah. No, but jokes apart, it's like you started something and now the community has taken a life of its own and gone to many ways that you wouldn't have ever envisaged before. And genuinely, I hope that while you still continue to do the walks, and I hope that while I eventually will get a home in Bangalore and hence can change my address and hence can apply to be part of this community and hence come for a walk.
You come to Bangalore. When I'm doing a walk, you're automatically in.
Okay.
Walk you can still come.
Walk I
Group
can.
you can't.
Group I can. Okay, got it. Okay. Sorry then.
Thanks for saying that again and again. He's not heard that enough number of times today.
No. I hope that you actually end up doing something else more with this, right? I don't just mean do more walks by itself, but I really feel you're onto something over here. I'm not saying that it's to form a company or something, but I genuinely feel that I hope in 10 years time people come back, look at this interview and say, oh wow, this is where it all started, or something of that sort. Because what you've managed to build with this community is spectacular, and I'm not even a part of it. I've literally, all this is just from hearsay for me. Amazingly done. We had you on over here because we genuinely think that what you're doing is content in some way, or the building of community and all that sort of thing, and really just the power of an idea and how it's just manifest in various ways. So yeah, I would like to say thank you for all you do, but you can say that. I can only hope to someday thank you for what you do. But yeah, thank you for coming on
Thank you
and
for having me.
sharing
This was
experience,
a lot of
etc. with
fun.
us and whetting everybody's appetite for close to 2 hours. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much, Ajit. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. This was good fun.